Good day to you, my viewer, from wherever you are. My name is Nebai Kimani. I am so glad to have you here with me. This is The Crucible, and today the theme is leadership. And I have brought to you an amazing person with me. We have him here, right here. His name is Owen Charles, and he is a spokesman at forums. He has been a leader in the youth church, and he's also a HOD of HODs, a leader of leaders. And this is the person who we're bringing to us to share with us his views on leadership and to understand what really is leadership. What does it take to be a leader? And how, within this age and within the various opinions that we have, what does it actually take to be a leader? So welcome. Karibu sana Owen. How long have you been a leader?
I would say roughly beyond 10 years, because it began in school.
Wow.
In different roles. Of course, serving in different capacities, I've been able to lead people even as they follow my example. Yes.
So majorly you have been a leader in the youth, right? As a HOD. So how long have you been in this position for?
It's been roughly 4 years. I would say it's been an honor to serve. And of course, with the guidance of those who have been ahead of me, I've been able to take up the mantle. It comes with great responsibility, as you know, and I'm privileged and I'm honored.
All right. So let's dive right in, and I just need to ask you, as Owen and as a HOD, and with over 10 years of experience, you have told us, what would you define as leadership, or how would you define leadership?
From the understanding of experience, I would say leadership is when you provide a vision and you're able to articulate it in a way that when you speak about it, you're able to do it in a winsome manner that others would follow, and you're able to articulate what really matters to you as a leader and why people need to care about it too.
All right. Wow. Okay. So if I may just ask you, what do you think are the most important values that a leader should have?
I suppose the first skill is to be able to learn. As a leader, you're always learning, and that wealth of knowledge is what you apply through wisdom to be able to do the responsibilities that are accorded to you. So I would say, one, you need to be a good learner. You need to always keep growing through learning. The second thing would be to lead by example. You wouldn't lead if no one can copy you, suppose. So one of the best things you can do is to show someone how to do it, and then you're able to tell them that this is the direction we're going. As I walk with me.
Thank you, Owen. I think you've put that very well. And I know that being a youth leader and maybe being a political leader or even a leader in the corporate space may be a bit different. Maybe you can tell us what is the main difference, or what would you say are the differences between a leader in the church or a leader for young people and a leader in maybe any other area?
Well, the biggest difference I would say is you always have to have connection with the people you're leading. Unlike the corporate space where you would say there's a hierarchy, so there's people who report to you and there's people who report to them. So you don't really have to connect on the ground because you expect the lines of communication to give you information. Youth leadership is a bit proactive because people look to you when they require solutions to the problems. They're looking up to you when they need information, when they need a sense of direction, when they're looking at themselves and they're seeing there's something that they don't have, that you have, and they can glean from that. So it requires you to always perhaps walk with someone, occasionally to also ask questions, because you can't really assume that you know everything. You need to understand what are people saying that you need to listen to, what really matters to the people that you're leading, that should also matter to you in as much as you have a vision for them.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
think also with the, you mentioned the political space as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So even in the political space, we all have seen from experience that
Yeah.
sometimes leaders can be so far off from the needs of the people.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't know, and it's not that they don't come to the grassroots.
Yeah.
It's that they only come when it's time to campaign,
Yeah.
or sometimes when they want to make a good image of themselves. PR, as some would say, public relations.
Yeah.
But I believe leadership, when it comes to youth, goes beyond that, because in the context of church, you understand that people are coming to church for different reasons. Some people are heartbroken, others are in grief, others are just in a platonic state.
Yeah.
Some are discovering themselves, some are seeking a deeper connection with God, and this is the direction they've chosen, and they find themselves in your hands.
Yeah.
So you can't negate the responsibility of going a step ahead into discerning all these needs and seeing them as responsibilities that, first of all, you need to pray about. Second, you need to be intentional in understanding what these needs are. And third, you now see ahead 5 years from now or 3 years from now, how will this person be like? So it's not about how will you look like to them, it's about how will their lives have changed. And then based on that, now you break down into the steps that you will follow in your leadership.
Wow. Okay. Great insights. Great insights. I'm really enjoying this interview. You're opening my mind concerning a lot of things regarding leadership. I just have a question, because being anonymous and being a leader sometimes don't really match up really well. And with the anonymity that social media provides, you can sometimes hide from criticism, or you can hide from the consequences of certain things you say or certain actions that you do. But now you have talked about being an effective leader. What would you say is the best way to handle criticism now that you're in the limelight and that you can't shy away from it and you're leading people face to face? What would you say is the way you as an individual, you as a leader, handle criticism?
That's a very relevant question. And let me just say that for anyone who would want to be a leader, one thing you can never avoid is criticism. So if you're always averting feedback, especially when it's criticism, rather than appreciation, I think you may need to begin by getting acclimatized to understanding that feedback is meant for growth and that you can use it to your advantage. It's not about what has been said, it is whether what has been said is true and how can that be used to make things better for you. Yes.
Wow.
So how I deal with criticism is, one, I don't take it personally, because sometimes not everything is truth. It's just a perspective. And people's perspective are different. For example, someone who thinks you're bad, it's probably because you made a decision that affects them in a negative way. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that the effect of that decision led to them facing a certain loss or having a bad feeling, and based on that, they probably summarized you as bad. Or someone who, through the same decision, felt like they are benefiting, so they will call you a good leader. Again, if it gets to your head, you can be so consumed in praises. If it gets to your head, you can feel so down and distraught because of the criticism you receive. So I don't take it personally. Second, I try and see what is the truth in what is being said. Feedback is very important, because sometimes there's a perspective that you need to get that you had not anticipated, especially in instances where what you said or what you did as a leader was offensive, whether what you said or did was misleading, if what you said or did had a negative effect that can be reversed. You need feedback and criticism so that you're able to come back to the drawing board and see, were these plans going against what we set out to do? Or do we need to change our approach because this is not in line with what we need to do? Or maybe things are going down south very fast. The ship is sinking. We need to salvage what we can, or we need to plaster the hole in the ship so that it stays afloat. So criticism requires someone to be able to be receptive, be open-minded. It also means that you need to, now as a leader, you need to pray, because you were given the mandate by God. The people you're leading, it is God who made them. He is the one who understands their heart. You may not know everything, but He can reveal all things to you, and He is the one who empowers you to lead. So you need to pray that you have the understanding, that you have the wisdom, that you're able to have discernment, so that in the midst of all these voices, the voice you need to hear the most is the one that you will be able to pick out, and that will change how you're leading. Other than that, I think reading from other people's experiences or asking from other leaders what their experience has been. Don't ever operate from a perspective of being alone. Lone wolves are very vulnerable. And so one of the lessons I've learned is you're not the only one who's leading. There are many other people who are leading, sometimes even from different spheres of life, but the lessons that you can get from someone in a different space can be applied to the space that you're in. So ask around, ask how were you able to manage people's expectations? How were you able to go through with a certain approach that people are fighting, but was good for them in the season you're in? And that way you're able to learn from the experience of others. You don't have to wait to experience something for you to get the lesson. From other people's experiences, you can get the lessons and you can apply that to your life and to the responsibilities that you're meant to take as a leader. Yes, that's how I handle criticism.
This is turning out to be a really interesting interview, Owen. And
questions.
I'm really enjoying your uptake on certain issues and how much insight you have even in regards to the scope of leadership and issues. I also like your attitude in regards to criticism, in regards to even our current leadership. You seem to have a really good scope of what's going on.
It's interesting you mentioned attitude, because that matters a lot in leadership. How you view things. I think it's John Maxwell who mentioned that attitude is the color through which you see the world. Or I've paraphrased it, but simply put, when you have the right attitude, you're able to see things objectively. And it also helps you to lead well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Owen. It has been such a great honor to have you here. You have such great insights. You have such great wisdom. You bring a lot to the table in regards to leadership. Maybe I can ask you, do you have a final take? Maybe something you want to add on as we conclude?
Well, as you know, my position, I serve in church, so I would credit God for the opportunity, the fact that He would choose you. It is very hard to think that you're the best or that you're the only person that is needed, but to have the opportunity to be able to serve, that is what matters the most. And that to me it stands out by itself, the opportunity to be able to meet different people, to be able to see how these people have different strengths as well as weaknesses, and how you can be able to work based on everyone's strength, how you can be able to encourage people out of their weaknesses or to even cover their weaknesses one to another in a complementary way. And all this without subtracting the aspect of God, giving the opportunity for you to lead and for people to be connected to you for the purpose that you have.
So thank you so much, Owen. It's such an honor to have you. I'm so glad to have you here. And my dear listeners, I hope you have gotten something. I hope you have gotten some insight. Personally, I can say I have learned a lot about leadership. It has been such a wonderful and an insightful interview. There is so much depth to this man. And unfortunately, we'll have to come to the close of it right now. This has been your host, Nebai Kimani. This is The Crucible. If you'd like to hear more videos like this, would like to watch more content, you can follow, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about this. This is The Crucible. Adios.